She's a goner anyway! Be smart about this, crying out loud!
Brother, when was the last time you had a good hunt for a hare?
Too long! Too long!
No time like the present. We got this.
Come here, little hare. Don't be shy. My axe wants to say hello.
The howling Norscan clutches his battle axe in both hands as he bolts to catch up with Hadolf, who has already begun a sprint into the obscuring woods until he is no longer seen, the Norscan more than happy to give chase. The other Norscan, the one who taunted you in his broken Reichspiel, faces you with a smug smile. He is naked save a loin cloth, some leather straps and fur boots, and in his hand he too carries a deadly battle axe. He, like the other ambushers, have wild hair and long beards dyed a deep crimson. 20 feet behind him, you glimpse Helga has already been slammed to the ground after the two Norscans grew bored of their leering and have decided to test her mettle. The Norscan before you swings his axe to slash your neck, and you stagger back. Before you can do anything else, you block another heavy blow that would have split your head in two. He lunges again, assaulting you with a barrage of heavy, savage blows, until he recoils for an overhead swing. You duck and scamper sideways, but he kicks you heavily on the hip, and you stagger off balance. No time to tarry. You get up and charge towards him, going for a sideways swing, but he stands back and, reversing his weapon, butts you on your kettle helm. Staggering drunkenly, your head ringing, you sway and fall to one knee and look about you. A forest to your left and a dead, muddy landscape to your right. Bodies of the fallen lay strewn before you, and a screaming city at the coast being breached by the heathens. Time slows, and see the two Norscans taking turns in trying to shatter Helga's round shield, as she lays there, sideways on the ground, her knees curled up and sobbing uncontrollably, as each Norscan takes an even heavier swing than the last in smashing her shield, relishing in her anguish, mocking her in their native tongue. Though your face is blank, in your mind, a hatred begins to boil, and the Norscan who you'd been fighting stares down at you with a smug smile spreading across his face. He is clearly relaxed and enjoying what he sees below. The Norscan flinches and turns around for a moment, growling at the noise. That's all you need, Nordlander. With a surge of energy, you grip your axe and swing it savagely at his groin. His eyes are wide in agony. You waste no time. You sidestep and cut his arm holding the battle axe at the elbow. He is kneeling now, and you are standing. You swing hard on his skull. Once, twice, thrice. You yank it out and adjust your kettle helmet to see the other two Norscans glancing back at you dumbly, not understanding what they've just seen, that before them, you, Nordlander, in your tartan cloak, leather armor, battered helm and a bloodied axe, stand triumphant and defiant over the body of their Norscan companion. It clicks, and as you are removing your metal shield from your back, one of the Norscans begins a wild, heavy charge, his axe held high. Take a breath, Nordlander. For within 10 feet of the Norscan's charge, you throw your axe, and it whistles towards him. He blocks it, but it was a move he was not expecting, and he loses his momentum and his balance, slipping on the mud and dropping his axe. Quickly walking up to him, and with your shield now donned, you see him scramble for his axe, and then look up at you from wide eyes. You heave and smash the shield on his head. 5 times is enough to make his head a pile of mince. After picking up your axe, you scream a roar in challenge and bat the axe to your shield twice, and the final Norscan looks back at you from bloodthirsty eyes, which glint acceptance to your challenge. He leaps towards you, unleashing a fury of blows. You block and give only a few swings back in return, but the warrior's fury was up at the death of his companions. Your hatred begins to waver as you feel the man's rage begin to border into berserk. His speed and ferocity only increases. You cannot help but kneel once more at his pummeling strikes, blocking with your shield, becoming slightly more dented after each block. A scream from a charging Helga is lost on the Norscan, his mind focused on killing you. It's not until Helga's third stab in his back that he stops to see his belly bleeding, and you, not waiting for chance, slash with your axe. You and Helga both begin a frenzy of murder, screaming like animals as you slice and dice what was once a man, but is now a collection of meat. And then, the land is quiet once more, save for the distant low-rolling sounds of Dieterschaffen and the pouring rain and thunder. Out of exhaustion, you sway and then clumsily hug each other for support, before falling both to your knees and resting. The adrenaline of the past few moments draining away.
The city's lost. It's over. They have the walls. I saw them.
A rumbling sound from the city catches your attention, and watch as the Norscans pull down the banner of Nordland and colours of the Emperor from the eastern wall, the breach. The bodies of the defenders, their armour glinting in the dull light, being thrown into the mass of degenerate tribes of Chaos Horde below, and the eastern gates are pulled down, causing another humongous cheer.
I thought we could win at least once since the invasion. By Verena, just once! Come on, let's go. Stobert's probably begun the charge already.
As soon as you both get up, you find yourself falling back down from utter exhaustion. Sleepless and hungry, you resolve to ease at least one of your problems by eating some of the food found during your scavenge. Between the two of you, you have luckily found a large sum of fresh, preserved food and drink. You promise to each other that you'll find some more on the way back to make up for the loss. Almost retching a little from not eating so much in so long, you begin to feel calm and clear-headed. Now one of your problems have gone, but the other will have to wait, lest Stobert find you sleeping. The man would make an example of you before the battle, no mistake. Of that Helga could swear. This time, as you get up, the fatigue is a lot less than it had been a half hour ago, and you begin walking your way back to Stobert, but not before you notice, after less than a minute of walking, a body that piques your curiosity. Helga is watching you, puzzled, as you walk towards a dense thicket of trees, where a body lays recumbent. The Norscan that had been let loose to chase Hadolf lies face flat in the dirt with the back of his head a shattered mess from a gunshot.
What is it? What have you found? A dead raider. Oh? I just didn't think... Wait, you think Hadolf really shot him? Never exactly radiated courage, that one. Could have been those Talayan sharpshooters on Stobert's payroll? We will see. You know, I thought if anyone could hold these savages back, it'd be Eric and his Marines in Dieterschaffen. He used to show me some tricks and moves when he'd returned from his campaigns beyond the Empire. But what was it all for? Pfft, who am I joking? You saw me. I couldn't move. I couldn't fight back, I was scared. The way they toyed with me before making me cower in the dirt. The way they hated me. I was so... I couldn't... If it hadn't been for you, At the end of the day, I am a patriot. But I am not a soldier. I'm just frightened and want my life back. Eric was my last hope for returning to a cinder of that life. Now all I have are memories. But you never know. Maybe when we charge, the tides of fate will have changed. What about you, What keeps you going? Why didn't you flee like Hadolf did? That's a good enough answer for me. You know, when this is over, Did you hear that? The trench! Come on!
You speed your way back to the trench. You are both halfway between two trees when a figure emerges from the fog ahead. A Norscan, clad in fur, his long hair and braided beard a pale gold, and he is staggering towards you, sword held high, and his orange round shield drooping. 6 meters from you, he drops to his knees, and blood dribbles from his mouth before he hits the ground, where a hand axe sticks embedded in his skull. Flushing out forth from the fog ahead, you see fleeing men running, and hear sword clangs and gunshots. Norscans, all golden-haired, wounded and on the run, your comrades giving a loose chase. A routing Norscan druid turns around and raises his staff. ready to summon the winds of magic for a spell, and both you and Helga back away to hide. But on his heels are the Tyrian riflemen, who shoot him. Even as he's downed, they walk over to him and shoot his body, making sure the sorcerer is dead. A bald, beardless Norscan with heavy armor, a vicious-looking flail, and an eye missing charges towards you. You and Helga get your shields up, ready for the impact, but the armored form of Stobert comes leaping from behind and tackles the big man to the ground. Stobert initiates a ground and pound until the man's face is a blubbering mess, before reaching behind, grabbing a loaded pistol and shoving it down the Norscan's throat.
Eat it! Well, look who came back from their little stroll. You actually get anything edible?
Yes, sir. But I must report
Well,
that...
what are you waiting for? Give what you found to your lieutenants, and get back into line, now! Right. Sergeant Holt, inspect casualties. Send a message to the officers. We march until we reach sight of the city. Any stragglers, get the whip. I'll have no ditherers. All right, form up, men. Form up. I said form up! Come on, donkeys! You can sleep about when we win back our country. Pikemen, form front line. Captain Malero, get you and your Astalians beside the pikemen. Suppressive fire on my orders.
We are Tilair.
Shut your mouth! Everyone, keep moving forward. No time to rest. When we reach sight of Dirterschaffen, we'll assemble ranks and make a charge. We'll catch them off balance. Sergeant Wainwright, get those mortars and batteries out. I want that dwarf checking them on the double.
The entire brigade is moving northward now, at a steady pace, and the food you've brought, though not a great amount, is enough to garner thanks and commends from even the officers. Walking along with your platoon, spearmen and infantry, you remember the state of Dirterschaffen. There had been at least 3,000 Norscans besieging the city, possibly more. You are part of the 4th Imperial Coastal Defense Battalion, a total force of 1,000. The rest of the Coastal Defense Brigade, to your knowledge, are in the 2 trenches behind, each one 2 miles apart from the other. You recall on your march to join the brigade that it numbers 3,000 strong. Lieutenant Schmitt, your officer, is a big man in his 20s, bald, and with a twirled mustache and an axe wound on his temple. As you approach, handing the satchels of food you'd collected, he looks at you up and down.
At ease. Aye, you're one of us. A Nordlander. But this armor and weaponry is custom. Sellsword or volunteer? You brought quite a lot for our boys. Very good work, soldier. I hope it wasn't too difficult a task. Encounter any resistance? They sound like Azelings. They serve a brutal god of war they call Carnif. Aye, they're tough nuts. Either Ranald favors you, or you've done this sort of bloody work before, perhaps? Aye, well, 3,000 Norskins stand between us and the city. They're like animals. They can follow only one scent at a time. Their backs will be turned to us, and that's how we'll strike.
Schmitt begins looking about. All around you are loose ranks of soldiers, still walking at a lazy pace through the forest. But something is wrong. There are concerning shouts coming from further along the ranks. Questions are thrown, and the officers order them to quiet down and keep marching, or simply to shut up, but that only increases concern. Panic is beginning to brew in the company, and though you know not what has stirred this, you somewhat feel a rising panic of uncertainty too. The rumors become clearer, and now you wish you weren't hearing them. Word is that the 3rd and 2nd trench have disappeared, 2,000 men gone. How exactly is a matter of speculation. Some claim sorcery, others cry out desertion and mutiny, and others whisper of a 2nd Norscan army. The officers dismiss the questions and cry out for order and to keep moving, and though you continue marching, the seed of doubt has been planted. You remain in your position, in the 3rd column behind the spearmen, led by Lieutenant Schmitt. Coming towards the end of the forest, the columns grow quiet all of a sudden, as Dirterschaffen becomes visible to you once more. A black shadow surrounded by a muddy coastal plain and beneath dark, low clouds.
Company, hold here!
The air is swollen with a deathly silence as you look beyond at the city, a horrid twisting feeling in your gut. The gates of the city are open, where out of it come pouring thousands of savage men, clad in furs and metal, roaring and chanting. You can see less than a handful of trolls, giants and mammoths, also dotted within their crowded ranks. In the front lines, some of their bannermen hold flayed or mutilated victims from the city, still screaming or wailing. And they are all facing you, waiting expectantly, roaring in defiance towards you all, who stand silent as the grave. A man next to you retches.
This is a death trap. We're done here.
What do you mean by that? You're scared to get cut? It's your job to fight! By Verena, that's what I bleedin' pay you for!
Aye, we are paid to fight for coin. But take a look out there, Knight Captain. I don't intend on heading to Mord's Garden anytime soon. Ce ne stiamo andando!
Get back here! You dogs! You cowards!
Your nerves go electric as you see some of the other sellswords also fleeing. The mere prospect of fighting such a force, and winning seemingly impossible to them now. And they are not alone. Even a few of the Nordlanders have begun to rout. No one stops them.
All of you with a gut and spine, stand ready! This changes nothing! Do not listen to the lies of cowards! There is no second army of Northmen behind us, and the rear battalions are perfectly safe. We've come this far by Myrmidia. We'll throw those savages out back into the sea. We have a plan, faith, and imperial steel. These dogs out there have nothing that we cannot overcome. We have come this far, and I swear to you this. When the moons rise tonight, I promise you, Dirterschaffen will be ours. Nordland will be ours. Victory will be ours.
Most are gathering into position, ready for the great push. Others retch or cry, and a furtive few make a break for it deeper into the forest, their patriotism at an end. The man who'd retched beside has fled. Despite Stobert's rally, the entire brigade is teetering on a razor's edge between fight or flight. You are part of a brigade 3,000 strong, but if the rumors are true, only your part of the brigade remains. Can it be enough to make a difference? You look down to yourself, muddy, bloody, and ready for combat. You killed 2 Eslings this day. But can you face an army? Is this worth your blood, sweat, tears, and toil? Time is running out. Make a choice, Nordlander.